Hyper Light Drifter was first planned to be released in 2014 after developer Heart Machine started a Kickstarter and raised over 20 times what they had asked for in order to make it. After it met its goals, Heart Machine used some of the extra dosh to hire on more coders and an artist, as well as a composer, in order to finish the game and make it even grander than what had originally been planned. Now, personally, I don't fund Kickstarter. I have no animosity for those who do, but personally, I prefer to buy the game once it's finished. However, I, for one, am glad that this game was funded and finished, as I found Hyper Light Drifter to be fan-fucking-tastic, and a serious contender for my 2016 Game of the Year. The creator claims that the gameplay was inspired by Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Diablo. I can see that, but I was getting a little bit of Metroid, some Evangelion, maybe some other influences here. Regardless of influence, however, the game utilizes these inspirational elements and truly just makes it its own idea. The game feels fresh yet familiar. It's easy for any longtime gamer to pick up and feel comfortable with the controls and the premise presented here, but it also offers enough depth and mystery and even some intrigue to keep the most seasoned of retro gamers interested. Hyper Light Drifter's premise combines fast-paced melee, dual-stick shooting, resource management, and a healthy portion of exploration and adventure into its fabulous mix of gameplay and storytelling, and of course, world building. The game almost seamlessly blends gameplay and story without taking away from either. Apart from the intro and ending cutscenes, there's a little story to be found in the way of control-wrenching story sequences. Most tidbits about the world and the people who inhabit it are gathered just from seeing the ruined landscapes of past civilizations, witnessing the existence of the world's current inhabitants, or stumbling upon the corpses of the previous ones. From what I can gather, our hero is the titular drifter. He awakens next to a campfire and begins his quest the same we do, witnessing flashbacks of his past. We then wake up in the bed of a kind stranger who also seems to be a fellow warrior or hunter of sorts. It's then up to us as the player to figure out where to go and what we need to be doing. The game gives no more direction than this. Right from the get-go, you have about 60% of the game that's yours to explore. The first 3 major destinations and goals and bosses can be done in any order you wish. There's no direction telling you which you should do in any order or even where they are, and oh my god, this is such a liberating feeling. I fawn over game design like this. I love when a game just lets me discover without the need for tutorials, text, cutscenes, or anything in order to move the gameplay or the plot along. After I left the starting house, I spent a good 20 minutes just playing with the controls, dicking around and navigating menus and exploring the main city hub of this future fantasy world. Soon, I realized there were no text boxes or even spoken conversations to be had with the townfolk. I learned everything about the world, the warrior who had saved me, and everything about these people from just simple pictures that appears over the NPC head as your character talks to them. Item and weapon shop signs are used over the buildings to tell you what's there. When you go into a menu, there's pictures and videos telling me everything I need to know. And you know what? This is better. Better than the way most games do it. By going into a menu and seeing a video and an icon of the skills, this tells me way more than any text box could. And it doesn't break the wall that the narrative flow is going for with its cryptic post-apocalyptic world. I don't need to speak their language. The Drifter does. And we get everything we need to know from these conversations. It just helps to pull us even deeper into the magical science fiction dystopia presented. The combat, as stated previously, is a combination of exploration, platforming, and action. The exploration happens to be one of the main legs that this adventure stands on. It combines hitting switches, breaking objects, and searching every nook and cranny of an area for a way to go. Looking for health packs, or looking for upgrade items, which come in the form of these yellow chips. Grab 4, they become a whole. Turn in 2 or 3 of these back in town to learn a new skill, carry more potions, or upgrade your ammo count on your weapons. The combat is simple yet engaging. The character has a simple 3-swing melee combo, which can be upgraded and expanded to include dashing attacks or charged hits. Melee hits deal fast damage and have a secondary effect of filling your ammo meter for your ranged weapons. No scrounging around for ammo, just smash some boxes or lacerate some enemies and you're good to go. This pushes the player to get very intimate with the game's melee combat and not just rely on guns to run and gun your way through it. The game also has you become one with the movement system. Yes, the Drifter can move in 8 directions, but you also have a dash. The dash can act as a dodge for enemy melee hits and shots. The dash can also be upgraded to get a shield, so that dashing through enemy ranged attacks will fill your own. It also helps you get across gaps, and there's a little bit of platforming here, where sometimes you're just moving from point A to point B, or sometimes you're dashing over to ledges and the cliffs in order for secrets, or sometimes you're searching for invisible platforms, and there are different dash trails. The dash, like the sword and the guns, can all be upgraded. All this depth of the combat is here because the game wants you to be very comfortable with every aspect of it. This game is a bit of a challenge, and it's not forgiving when it comes to the enemy damage. At any moment, you could enter a room and be assaulted by 10 or more enemies at once and be dead before you even realize what's happened. Many of the bosses can lock into a combo or use a special attack that becomes an instant kill if you get caught. I do appreciate the challenge though, and I found the difficulty to be perfect. The last thing I feel I need to mention are the aesthetics. The visuals give off a 16 to 32-bit pixel count, something reminiscent of the late Super Nintendo, early PlayStation 1 games. But there's a perfect use of colors and the vistas and the landscape that just make this depressing dystopia a beautiful sight to behold. The imagery can be both haunting and beautiful simultaneously. The score also goes a decent way to sell the superb atmosphere. It's dark, moody, mysterious. The soundtrack sets all the right tones to complement the stunning visuals and expert storytelling. This is how sound, visuals, and story should be used in video games to establish atmosphere above plot. This is how video game storytelling can be better than any other medium. There are loads of secrets to uncover, from extra weapons and upgrades, alternate swords, and costume skins. There's a new game plus that features higher challenge with all the skills unlocked from the default for those seeking a more challenging adventure. Hyper Light Drifter is worthy of standing alongside some of the best video games I have ever played, and I cannot give this game praise enough. For me, this is a perfect game.